regarding cognitive dissonance and Lawrence Kohlberg's assertion that you have to be cognitively stressed or in cognitive dissonance to be open to a different way of thinking, I'd like to state that I think he is an incredible pessimist. I think that he's talking about revolutionary ways of being able to change the mind. Revolution being painful and under duress. And he is discrediting the ability for revelation and positive opening into new awareness and different ways of thinking through positive factors as well. At any rate, I think he could lighten up a little bit. I have experienced this kind of stretching and challenging of values in my life in many circumstances. I think it's just kind of, part and parcel to aging into some semblance of wisdom, or at least little bits of wisdom. I guess more recently, I had a really heavy resistance to the idea of teaching yoga in an exercise science department. I come from a very educated, philosophical, and practice-oriented self-transformation through yoga, and I see it for what it is. It is a thousands of years old practice that is about transformation through some physical practices, a lot of morals and ethics, practices of denying the senses, and moving into meditation. And here in the West, we see in the exercise science departments, people trying to turn it into a physical education class, like an aerobics class. Anyone who's been through my MA program at Loyola Marymount in Yoga Studies is really pretty appalled at the whole situation of where yoga is in the academic world. It really belongs in a cross-departmental setting, and this has a lot to do with my goal of wanting to bring that into an undergraduate setting, working with psychology and, yes, exercise science, and the historical documents of yoga, the different religions that incorporate yoga. Although yoga is not a religion, it is a tool that is utilized by Buddhism, Hinduism, Jainism, amongst other South Asian cultural traditions, which is one of the reasons why I had a real moral issue when I decided to enter this program and begin to understand yoga from a very different perspective, from a very Western perspective, that doesn't even realize that it's doing such a disservice to the history of yoga. So getting over myself and getting into this program has really kind of been a big deal. And I believe that it happened, yes, through a cognitive dissonance, but it also happened through kind of a revelation that nobody's going to change the laws in California for hiring people at the community college level unless they're working within the community college community. And so it's a step forward to come into this understanding of perhaps why it's being viewed this way in the West and the miseducation that people have gotten around it, and kind of a humbling of oneself and a stepping back from my own personal transformation and the particular tools within yoga that I used into being able to offer the more therapeutic realm of tools, because even though it is a self-transformative practice that perhaps belongs more within psychology and theology than it does in exercise science, it definitely has a myriad of physical benefits that can help to nourish and sustain a human being, whether they want to go down the path of yoga or not, or whether they want to use yoga in a different spiritual tradition, as in Christianity or Judaism or in Islamic traditions. So I really did have to make a huge mental shift of what I believed and what was right and true and ethically sound, and go beyond that in order to think about being of service here in California, in the West. I feel like I've learned a lot about this, and I feel like I've learned a lot about being a servant leader in all of this. And I'm definitely prepared to go through a little more cognitive dissonance. I believe it's kind of what life is all about. So I look forward to hearing from you all, and I'd love to hear what you have to say.